A flawless second half for Gambit. Let them secure that first map against the KRÜ. I'm back on the desk with Achilles and Ryan. Who knew Gambit would be so good on defense? Who knew?
It was the whole idea of like the fast versus slow, who was going to win out, and Gambit just absolutely snow breezed KRÜ. Like they cooled down, Gambit played how they wanted, isolating the fights. You just look at the minimap with some of the clips we're about to highlight, you just see all of those red X's all across the map. Usually KRÜ are so good at trading off each other. Then you've got one in sort of a cave, one in mid. It was just a disassembling of KRÜ on that defensive side for Gambit.
Yeah, just kind of getting picked apart. And I mean, Gambit were getting themselves into such great just flank angles very early. It seemed like KRÜ wasn't really establishing too much map control. A lot of times they're clustered up. All of a sudden, here comes Chronicle on a flank. He's made his way all the way through elbow. He's taking a peek over towards mid, and he picks off a couple people. It looked like KRÜ was getting a little bit shaken up there. They're taking these aim duels that they really don't need to be doing, and it costs them one or two players in the end. And I mean, Chronicle, they were talking about it. Is he the best player on this team? Right now in this tournament, it absolutely looks like it. He was able to overtake Nags by the end of this.
I mean, I said this to you, Ryan, during the game. If Gambit win this series and go on to win the tournament this time around, I feel like Chronicle would be the tournament MVP.
Yeah, especially when you sort of look at like the Nats performance that he had. Like Nats just sort of was a little bit quiet overall in this series, but the amount of times that Chronicles bailed him out, and also just forces KRÜ into these situations where they're execing onto a site using all of this utility when the B site is barren, and still Chronicle gets a kill and gets out. There was no trades at all on the side of KRÜ, so it was just Gambit pick by pick, one by one, taking out and removing KRÜ from the equation.
I mean, we spoke about the jet diff after the first half with Nags popping off, but Defo, when you give him the operator, Achilles, I feel like there was a bit of a jet diff in the second half as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Defo really came online. You know, from the very beginning, we had that duel going through straight through door out into mid. Defo manages to get the flick, only takes a shot to the leg, so he is able to walk away with 30 HP, and then just further find impact with the rest of his squad. It was a huge step up from him, something that was very much lacking. But, you know, is it going to carry forward? And I have to pose that same question for Nags as well. Are we going to continue to see this as we get ready to move further in for map 2?
It's also that safe play as well. I think the KD, it was 2.5 in the end for Chronicle. It was on the defense, it was 4. He only got killed like 4 times. It was pretty ridiculous overall. And it's the same with Defo. He just died a handful of times in total. And where did Delsic go? I understand, like on the defense, that's where the Cypher could come online, but on the attack, you don't have that same powerhouse ability. And I think you saw a lot of desperate pushes into hole to see if they could get somebody, catch them out. But there were players like Redgar who just read everything perfectly and was even clutching out at the end, which we never see from Redgar.
Oh, I mean, I feel like we used to say that, but in this tournament, we see it from Redgar every single series.
Yeah.
He's had those moments every single time, which is always good to see from an IGL. Now, a lot of players are stepping up in this series, Nags in particular, so let's take a look at him right now in the AIM Labs shoot-around. I mean, the players like to bait us sometimes with the agents they play, but Nags, he's not messing around here. A terrific first half, but it just wasn't enough in the end. But I also want to quickly mention a fun stat for you guys. This isn't to do with Nags, unfortunately, but his teammate Kesnet, with the exception of Leaf, who did manage to get 2 aces before he was knocked out. Every other person that got an ace has only managed 1 ace so far. Kesnet has 3 aces, and he very nearly, Ryan, had 4 on that pistol round.
Yeah, it was just one of those moments where you're kind of looking at Gambit going like, just a lot of those trades where they're going one by one, and Kesnet dealt with them perfectly. It's got a lot tighter from there, and like Kesnet now, we're going to Ascent. You sort of expected to pick up that Reyna again, which I can't believe I'm saying this. I hope that he does. I hope that we see the Reyna pick, just because of the difference it makes. It allows for that aggression on the defense as well as, and it sort of puts Klaus in a more comfortable position as well, not playing this over and playing more the Sentinel Viper role dependent on the map.
Yeah, being able to get that pick and not have to rely on somebody else coming on the back end to, you know, trade out, just be able to take that dismiss and play a little bit more self-reliably, I think is really, really good for Kesnet. And, you know, while the Cypher looked really good at the start, it just didn't really get too much done with it.
He didn't have a kill at all, Klaus did, on their attack.
Yeah, Klaus looking a bit out of sorts.
Yeah. But that was like the old agents that he used to play. Like, this is where we expect him to sort of play different stuff, and that's what I want to see. How well can he bounce back as well in this position as well when you have a pretty rough performance like that?
Yeah, well, let's talk about Ascend next. This was KRÜ's pick, and you can see why they decided to come here, you know. That Furia performance, Ryan, was really, really strong for them.
It was just a really nice, solid performance in a bit of an awkward series. At least it began an awkward series for KRÜ. I mean, you could probably ask Mitch and Tommy Willis in a second, like you're looking at that as an elimination game, and you sort of expect KRÜ to be down there, but it was from this point that it started to rise up and come together. The problem is just how much of Gambit are we realistically going to see get fixed after that X10 game, because it was their defense that was super wobbly. That defense on Breeze was a whole different story.
I mean, we talk about like comfort zones of teams. I know in League of Legends for Perks, the 2-1 down, he loves it. He kind of comes online. For KRÜ, Achilleos, you know, against Furia and Sentinels, they lost both first map. It was only against Fnatic that they actually came out with a momentum in the beginning, so there isn't that much to worry about right now, despite the fact they're one map down.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about this in, while we were setting up for this series. I didn't really expect them to take Breeze. Certainly, this was a statement from Gambit, being able to run 9 consecutive rounds. That is not at all how I thought it was going to go, so I very much agree with Mitch and Tom on that. But I didn't anticipate them to take Breeze regardless. So I still have some faith here for KRÜ. They've proven time and time again that if they do start a series, a map down, it's not going to discourage them. If anything else, it's going to push them even harder.
Yeah, we're into the Prime Gaming Agent Select now. As you guys can see, Ryan Kesnet, he has locked in the Reyna, which is what he played the last time we saw him.
I'm also looking at Shados, who has picked up the Sage, actually. And Defo is moving off of the... This is no duelist.
Okay, Defo is playing Sky?
Yeah, this is no duel. Like, this is pure EMEA coming out at this point.
This is fun.
But like, double duelist versus zero, I guess that's maybe like because they're defending first that they felt that they couldn't match that aggression against X10. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against KRÜ, so now it's just pure utility playing off of each other, and I guess hoping that the Sage slows down these fast XX.
I was going to say, this is all about trying to slow down those executions, having the wall that they have to break through, having just the slow orbs down on the slow fields down on the ground, just so that you can't really rush through an entry point. But this is definitely a big change. We'll have to see if it works out.
Well, this is a very different look for Gambit. I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. Over to you, Mitch and Tom.
Thank you so much, Sue. Here we go. Bouncing into this map is going to be a bit strange. I'm not sure what to expect. Out of KRÜ, they've just been bounced back on.
Yeah.
They're not going to feel great, but I'm hoping that they can reset.
Honestly, I thought we get to see like the agent picks a little bit earlier because we have a special monitor here because we're cool. And I genuinely looked at it the first time, went, yeah, normal, and then looked back a second later, I'm like, wait a minute. No, it's not. Why is Defo playing Sky? Like, we were even talking about how before this event, how he only really plays Jet.
Yeah.
Even the raise to us was a surprise. Now he's on Sky?
Oh, yeah. Believer after seeing that performance at a
Is this
Chronicle,
FPX?
perhaps.
Is that why I'm viewing right now? Did they make it here after all, Mitch?
I don't think so. I'm sorry. Shout out,
They got CIS IGL, I'm just saying.
Well, you never know. You never know. Well, as we come into this one, map number 2, KRÜ down by 1, but this is their pick, and it started out well. Kesnet taking down Nats, dealing heavy damage onto Redgar. And there's still 1:10 on the clock. Plenty of time for this attacking side of KRÜ to make a choice.
They've already managed to isolate Nats. That was one of the things that I think X10 did incredibly well, was just picking him off and not allowing those A-site stacks to really work out.
He wants to duel pretty soon. That armor's about to disappear. He's about to lose his overheal. And indeed, it will go down back to 100.
They're buying quite a lot of time. This is going to end up as an A-site push, and in terms of utility, in terms of stars, there's not a whole lot left for Redguard to play with. In fact, he's just tried to retrieve one, but whether it'll be available in time will be a completely different story altogether, as they're going to look to try and pressure him. He's still in the same spot, but they haven't actually spotted him. Finally, he will be cleared out. In fact, so will the majority of the team. Chronicle had a fantastic first map, but good luck, bud.
Yeah, it's going to have to be the 1v4, and he's already been spotted on his way through heaven. I'll be ready to face him together. Nags down below, waiting for contact to one of his teammates, and they'll just triple peek into this. Little shock dart to push him back. I mean, look, you got low HP on some of these players, but it's going to be hard to find that value. Going to connect those headshots almost instantly. It will not happen this time around. KRÜ starting off with a pistol round on Ascent. Same as they did on Breeze, getting off to a good start.
Yeah, solid start from them. I think, again, the fact that we're still seeing Kesnet take these incredibly aggressive duels means that like, it's what we expected. They definitely haven't gone into this map with like a low mental state and low confidence. Straight away, the first thing he does is like, guys, I'm going to peek it into A, and I'm going to kill someone. And that's exactly what he does. And then it's just playing with the rotations. The fact is that Gambit didn't really have any information there, and normally we'd look at someone like Defo, who's going to try and take that mid-control away from them. They can't really do that so much because, well, he's not got that dash ability to get him out of dodge.
Defo's ready to take this duel around the corner. They've already tapped the orb. He wants to hear the second tap. He wants to hear them making some... Oh, in fact, they took it completely. I thought the flash would have come around the corner by then. This is a strange stack out of Gambit to not execute after they've heard the noise, but that'll almost bait KRÜ in to committing to this. As time goes on, eventually someone's got to take a step forward. But in fact, they go backwards. KRÜ give up this control, pick up the spike, and start to move towards this B side.
Clearly got the right read here, and Chronicle does currently have his dart available. Like, if he could get the information now, maybe there's a chance they could try and run all the way back, but he has nothing, and because they don't have any mid-control, it becomes very difficult. Now, Kesnit is definitely dead, so at least going to be something for them to fight with, but realistically, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make here.
Yeah, I mean, that was a plan. If anything, they knew Kesnit was probably going to die. He went aggressive. He made the noise. The whole idea behind that being like, they had a suspicion something was wrong. Something was freaky on the A site. So eventually, they rotate around. Kesnit makes the noise, and they go, okay, yeah, it is a stack here. B should be free. Walk in, take the kill with the shock dart. Still comes down to a 3v2, though, and this is where they really can't afford to lose any more players.
They're going to clean it up fairly easily. As we sort of say, as long as it's anything more than 2 and you start to worry, you start to pay attention, especially for Gambit, that they managed to do that much damage. But 2 kills on the whole, it is not going to be too much of a problem for KRÜ. It's more just going to make it interesting of how much they actually invest into this next round. Like, what are they going to bring through? Is it an extra rifle maybe onto someone like Kesnit, who, of course, even without armor, if he manages to get himself a kill, can just overheal and bring himself back up to full? Or is he just going to take that risk anyway and just try and drag them through the round? The fact is, for now, it looks like he's just gone for another Spectre.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Try to just get something to play with, especially because he can heal himself up or dismiss. You're going to be playing aggressive. You're going to be one of the first players around the corners taking these duels. Got inside the smoke just to confirm there's no one up close. Yeah, okay, Shados is though, and he'll still get away with 2 walking through the cloudburst. He's even starting to creep up towards them in the alleyway, and on backside, Chronicle wasn't spotted. A flawless round coming out of Gambit, but that Prime Gaming flawless, their economy starts to stack on up.
Yeah, that was fantastic. The fact that they take 0 casualties in this round, it means that, of course, we're likely to see a rebuy anyway, but they haven't given any orbs over to the other side. They haven't given any weaponry away either, so this is as good as it gets. Now, I want to premise, the last time we saw this map played for them was versus X10. It went very badly. They only managed 2 rounds on the defense, which for Gambit is truly shocking, because I went into that map saying they are one of the best defensive teams I've ever seen on this map, and they made me look like a fool. Still going to say it again, Mitch. They are incredibly strong on the defense.
You had to do it again, didn't you? Man, every time I turn around and just look at Redgar, his posture scares me.
He's just going to start growing. He'll get bigger and bigger.
Oh, it's like, man, his chiropractor's making bank. Every event, he's probably got to go.
This is aggressive. This is very aggressive. Shados pushing all the way deep, but they can just take control of this. This is one of the main benefits of having that Sage, is you can just lock off parts of the map. For now, though, KRÜ, slow and methodical. They've got a lot of map control. They managed to push their way up short, but there's still so much information here for Gambit because of the fact that they've moved up to having a couple of initiators, and then they have the Cypher Cam of Nats as well, just spotting if anybody does make a move up short. So it may seem like, oh wow, Gambit are really passive here. They know a lot more than you think.
There's so much utility defense. Yeah, the fact that they've got these Astral Stars, the fact that they have their camera there, and the Hunter's Fury's finding nothing. In goes Redgar, and down he goes right away. Kesnit with another opening duel, and it looks like KRÜ are having a pretty easy time over this A site. I don't know that Defo can really do anything from here. Maybe a spam through the floor. They'll hope to find their target, but missing the mark. KRÜ of a 4v3 post plant.
Yeah, fantastic entries. Maybe a little bit of over-aggression from Redgar. A bit surprised, especially as he's normally the one to try and delay with the stars. The fact is, though, the afterplant positions are looking strong from KRÜ. There is a lot of work for Gambit still to do.
They know there's a player close. The flash connected. Good return. Defo on a triple. And sure, Shados will fall to the Nano Swarm, but they know where Bazzino is now. Oh, but he connects them both! The spray down is clean. The Red Bull clutch will give KRÜ a third.
These are the sort of rounds that we've watched KRÜ for this entire tournament. Every single player just having this clutch ability, and I think it was just the off-peak of his timing. Like, you expect to have a moment when a player taps the spike and then you peak. He peaked as they tapped it, so nobody was ready and watching to get those final kills. He timed this to literal perfection, and while it's fumbled a little bit by Gambit, it's going to give themselves an extra round in the lead. And now I'm interested to see the finances, because we spoke about the fact that the last was a flawless round coming out of Gambit. They're not in a bad spot, but it's not great.
I'm not surprised at all that we have a timeout. You know, when you have a communication hiccup like what I think just happened there, I hope that's what happened there, because we saw Defo, low HP, he went to defuse the spike. He was first man around the corner to be traded. He jumped towards the spike, but his teammate tapped it as well.
Yeah.
So Defo's facing away, trying to start the defuse. His teammate obviously tapped it just for a second to make the Q to get that player to peek, but the problem was, as you said, the timing was perfect. Mazzino peeked early, got around that corner, and double sprayed them down. The first player he takes down full HP with the headshot. Second is Defo, who's slow. So it's an easy spray transfer. That is a hiccup that you cannot allow to happen. Sure, it can happen to once, but call that timeout, level things out, get everybody reset, and come back in strong after this pause.
Well, that's the other thing as well. We know exactly how this LATAM squad plays the second they get a clutch like that. It pumps them up. They're the loudest people. Even if, I bet if you go over back to that cam in Argentina, they're not quite as loud as the players we currently have on the stage right now. They're a crowd in themselves. So the second those moments happen, it's got to be tough for Gambit. We've mentioned it already in this tournament, in this matchup. They don't seem to get affected by these sort of moments.
No, they really don't. A very headstrong team are Gambit, but KRÜ have shown to be just the same. This start, Redguard's getting aggressive. He's being spotted. Oh my god, he's in a lot of trouble. But somehow the utility is keeping them at bay. There's still another star up above for him to use. He has really planned this one out on the early aggression through A, but now they've seen no contact. They start to suspect that maybe KRÜ have rotated and started to look for control elsewhere after such a heavy stack. But just playing that waiting game, KRÜ have now found themselves the control over A.
This is almost like delay tactics coming out from Gambit. They've got so much utility to play with that they can afford to almost burn a bit of it in the early stages of the round. The problem now, though, is that lockdown. It's going to hold them back at least for a moment. Look at Redguard. He's tried to push through. They were ready for it. They don't actually manage to get the opener either. And the remaining players haven't actually moved. They're, in fact, all within the site, just waiting for the push to come in. Still, though, the entry goes the way of Delzik. The trade not quite there just yet. And, well, for the attackers, they have to fall back. There's nothing here for them anymore.
They've realized that there were two players there, but Gambit make the very quick read. They know that that's what KRÜ are likely to do, so they run back over, cover their mid-push, make sure they can't get through market or B main. But the problem is, KRÜ double-faked it. They've waited it out, and with 20 seconds or so left on the clock, they're going to be blitzing into A completely open.
There are players moving back, though. And the cross was being held, but actually Defo's moved away. The dart is going to give away the game. They will know that there's players already within the site. The spike being planted, well, it doubles down on what they were thinking. And now they're waiting for the rotation of Nats to come back through.
That's going to be a really tough one. Yeah, KRÜ have just got all the nooks and crannies occupied. As Gambit look to drop on out of heaven, they'll be in a lot of trouble. Time ticking away. They need to make a move. They need to start covering off these positions. The camera spots one down below, doesn't grab the tag. Kesnet getting aggressive, dismissing after another connection by Mazzino, and it's all left to Chronicle. 16 health in a dream, and it turns to a nightmare quickly. 4 rounds for KRÜ. Off to another steaming start.
Yeah, solid calling as well. I think that's the main point of this round, that both teams actually had a pretty good read on the scenario. I think Redguard's initial push, impressive, because he delayed them enough to give his team the time. Then you had the rotation back, which definitely wasn't wrong, at least initially from Gambit, but it's that call to just slow things down. Kesnet waiting, lurking, taking the time to almost say, okay, I can't hear anyone, no one's moved, no one's peeked, so they can't currently have the information, and then they go back into that A site completely open, and I think KRÜ's after plant solid once again.
Really and truly. The discipline on some of these duels, they even leave themselves open knowing that they'll be traded when they have that like 3v2 position. Because, hey, if you get this kill, it doesn't really matter. Now, Gambit going back to what they did before, stacked up inside of A main, waiting to push through. But KRÜ have been so cautious on these low-buy rounds. I am thoroughly impressed. This is something that the majority of top teams don't even do. How many times, Tom, do we see these pistols gain massive value because teams blindly run into map control and end up getting overwhelmed? But time and time again, KRÜ are leaving at most one player, but actually, hold on, Mizzino's got the spike.
That
I shouldn't have said anything.
Was perfect. They've got the res as well. Weaponry has been collected, and the Mitchman curse looks to come through this time for KRÜ, as they have got so much control at the moment. This hasn't even become a battle for the site anymore. This becomes a battle for the rest of it. And that cam has actually spotted the player, or at least it should have done. It becomes a bit of an awkward battle, and actually, Nags is somewhat losing it. He has taken a fair amount of damage. They've got utility to try and pull them out of position, which will work out, and at least make this one look possible. But with Shados taken off the head of Delzik, both remaining players so desperately low, surely there's no way KRÜ bring this back.
Klaus does his best with the turret to find the info, but as Nags falls and 20 HP remaining on Klaus, looks like a strong breeze will take him down. Don't think we're getting away with much here, and nor does he, as he backs off to save this rifle.
10 seconds left.
Looks like if he keeps going, he'll get away with it, but he's about to take a face into Redgar, who now has a nice free upgrade for him down there on the floor. That is not the round that I was expecting, as you might have guessed by how I opened it up, complimenting KRÜ on their inability to lose to ecos, and, well, they have lost to an eco.
These were some tasty shots, though, coming out of the Sheriff. Like, I think dodging the flash there gives enough just for the kill. They reclaim the rifles, they use the res, and I think the way that we're seeing these aggressive pushes together from Gambit is something that I don't think many teams could do as well. Like, the timing of all of that utility, and just look what it does. That was the one round where Gambit really didn't invest anything. It was just a few pieces of utility and some Sheriffs. Now you look at what the other team have, well, it's exactly that.
It's the ability to do damage in a lot of those earlier rounds. Oh, that flash is so good! Redgar has conditioned them. He's put those smokes down again and again. This time, he fakes it. He recalls the star, swings on a flash, and gets the kill. Great tag out of Chronicle, even without an Odin. That's an easy wall bang. And a 5 versus 3 emerges. KRÜ didn't come into this round with heavy weaponry, but I'm going to hope that Kesnet's able to do something with that Guardian they invested into. Oh, well, he's almost the last man alive.
One enemy remaining.
Mizzino as well. Prime Gaming flawless coming through from Gambit. It really does just feel like sometimes they just flip a switch and the whole game is on its head.
They were eco last round. They didn't buy most of those rifles. They carried through from their eco round that they picked up off the corpses of their enemies. Then they come into this with a flawless. That has turned the game on its head completely. The early narrative swinging massively in favor of KRÜ. They were looking clean. They were avoiding all of the regular mishaps that we see from teams, and now they have fallen into a pit of despair. Just one round in the lead. That's all they have to show from their incredible start, thanks to that eco round out of Gambit.
Take flight.
Yeah, Defo as well, I have to say, like, if for someone, as said, for months now, has just been playing Jet, goes back onto this guy, incredible stuff, and he's going to win the duel versus Kesnet. This aggression that was so successful in some of the early rounds from the Reyna has ended up being a little bit of a burden. Unable to find anything, but Klaus will respond. Bring it back into a 4v4 scenario, and you can see instantly, KRÜ just slow it down.
They absolutely do. Slowing the pace, grouping up. Going to be a 2-2 push into the A site, main and short. They haven't spotted Redgar crossover, but they'll have an idea that he could be here, and now they've spotted him indeed. This is going to be tough for him to even get out of here. He's getting aggressive. He's trying to take the duels, but he'll be caught on the retreat. With that opening, they're going to pick up the pace, run in towards the side, and if Defo doesn't have something huge to show, there's a first, but that's all he'll get. KRÜ with the advantage, and their post plans have been strong thus far.
Yeah, they have the ultimates for it as well. Like a Hunter's Fury and a post plant, we know how impactful that can be. They've also got one or two more to spare. The Cosmic Divide, I don't know if it'll be utilized here. I'm a little bit wary though that Delzik is incredibly low on HP. A well-placed spam could be enough to end him, but there needs to be something, and fast, from the side of Gambit as they look to try and encroach on the space of their enemies again. KRÜ and these afterplants have been stellar, and for the side of Shados, he's just going to keep the gun.
Nobody gets over aggressive, man. They just don't give anything away. It's clean Valorant, and that's what we like to see. Shados is going to be looking to save this one over. Kind of needs to pick up the pace. Get away from there pretty quickly. And it's being watched for now as well, so he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He dies to the spike anyways. Well, that's the weapon gone.
Yeah, I don't think the finances of Gambit are in a bad spot, but it's still just one of those things that just like, why?
Why didn't he run the spawn? Yeah.
Why?
Maybe we're missing something there, but I don't see the value.
I think maybe he realized how good their economy actually is. You have to remember they win themselves a round of just
and how poor
pistols.
their opponents were.
Yeah, so I think it was an attempt to do damage, but I don't think he meant to die.
Yeah,
like I think it was he wanted to take a fight versus someone and then bring something into the next round. As said, as you can see, they're fine for this round, and now we actually get Defos onto the operator, which normally is a hugely impactful player on this weapon. He can't escape as easily.
Who cares about the operator, man? We get the Odin from Chronicle. Let's go, baby. Early spams. Deep recon actually gets
That's why I care about the operator, man.
Yeah, all right, okay. It is what it is. Nice little return by Nats as well. So Defo not only gets the opening, but then Trailblazers to stun the player and allow Nats to come out of that corner and catch another. They were trying to punish the operator, but they weren't expecting him to have a bodyguard.
And with the shutters already closed, they are watching this. They are ready. Any surprise that Kesnet tries to throw at them is just being watched for. A well-constructed round by Gambit, knowing exactly where the holes in their defense currently are, and only 2 players remaining. It's not far away. Mitch getting a little bit too excited. You know, he didn't lose that much HP, and instead, well, yeah, he shouldn't stand a chance at this point, but he still survives. Oh, he's still standing. I mean, lucky man. Not many players stand on the other side of a wall from Chronicle with an Odin, get revealed, and walk away to tell the tale, but it's only a matter of time, and eventually he'll be taken down. That Odin coming up big in this round. I have to say, though, this is...
30 seconds
okay, let's give Mazzino a moment. 30 seconds. 1 versus 4, 70 HP, and 2 kills to his name.
He's on at the moment.
Yeah, but the time's going to be a real issue. He's sprinting to the A side, and there's no resistance there. Gambit are going to group up and try to retake this together. Now, a lot of problems for them, for Mazzino, rather. The Recon's back online now. It just came back. That's going to give them the Odin wallbang ability. And with 70 HP, that is actually very, very dangerous. Typically, that Recon's going to go towards lower, and they've even spotted him now. They know exactly where he is, and they're just dropping, finishing him off after the flash. Well played by Gambit on the retake, sticking together. It's what we want to see, not giving them any opportunity to clutch.
Still, in a 1 versus 5, like, okay, the two kills, I'm actually not that bothered by. He actually baited out Seekers. So they use an ultimate just to kill him off at the end. So, as said, like, the 2 kills are not really going to affect Gambit too much. Their finances are still in a very good spot. But, hey, having to use an ultimate and just to make sure they close out the round, that's completely different. Honestly, thus far in this map, I've been so impressed with Defo.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that, again, he's moving over to an agent we haven't seen for quite a while. And it's not just, like... we've seen with other players where he's just still fragging on the agent. Like, all of his utility, you think about that eco round, they won it off of his utility. That kill there as well.
Y'all really going to push into this? Up against an Odin, Hunter's Fury active, trying to hunt him down, but he's actually swapped position. Chronicle playing over towards Market, and Defo's the one on site. He's in a lot of trouble, though. Getting out of here is practically impossible. He still comes out with another kill, eliminating Delzik, taking the smokes out of the equation, and the retake, Chronicle has got his drone, he's got an Odin and a Hunter's Fury to play with. He's being covered up close by Nats, who spotted an exit. Lockdown, that's going to be a little bit of a thorn in the side. What's even worse than that is the player inside of main catching them off guard on the side angle. Redguard went down to Chronicles Hunter's Fury, and now it's a 1v2. This is a disaster for Gambit. A clutch needed from Nats, and time is not really on his side. Those players safely behind some cover so they can't be wall banged down, and they know exactly where he is, Tom. It's going to be so hard to get away with this one, and a well-played shot from Nagsit closes it out.
Yeah, a messy round. Like, it's always going to be when there's a couple of cosmic divides and players get lost within them. Again, Defo does well, but it's just the quick trades and the fact that they use their utility well. Having that Hunter's Fury in there as well. This it's just unlucky. A little bit bigger than maybe he thought it would be. Just killing off. Redguard basically just ends the round. It was left onto Nats to try and clutch it.
He had to move there. He had to swap to the other side of the Cosmic Divide because his 2 teammates were now on the other side. A few Hunter's Fury out in the open like that, especially after they'd already spotted Nags on top of the boxes at the bottom of the stairs, he's just going to get killed. So he had to move to the left. It is just a severely unlucky situation. Oh, you are horrible people. They have walled themselves up to get that angle, but luckily it was spotted immediately by the drone.
Yeah, somebody's been watching some grim clips here and there. Just stealing that one. I think I've definitely seen Ethan do that before as well, but expected, it seems. They managed to clear that fairly early on, and KRÜ now with 6 already on the board, and this time they shut Defo down. As said, he's been one of the high-impact players thus far for Gambit. Getting him out of the round for Nags is huge. How do they respond? And again, we're just seeing this much slower, calculated sort of attempt from KRÜ as they now wait back for any further aggression, and it is moving in their direction.
Well, you know what? They've just cleared out B main. That recon giving them complete control. Now, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Gambit are expecting the A hit. Look at where Nats is. This is not a great position. Sometimes your shoulder gets spotted. That's why he goes out a little bit wider. Ready for this smoke to fade, and the shot connected by Kesnan instantly. They don't spot anybody else. Oh, I thought Redgar was lining them up for the spray down, but Kesnan does such a good job stopping it from going too far and leaving Gambit into a 2v4 retake. And what have we said, Tom? KRÜ's post plans have been solid. I think that's why we see Gambit immediately go, hey, let's save this one. We're not going for it.
This one was far more calculated than I think any of the other rounds we've seen from KRÜ. Patient for any sort of aggression. The second that they get that opener, they instantly wait for the response. They know that somebody's going to try and find the trade. They know that there's going to be some more aggressive positioning from the side of Gambit, and they wait for it, they watch for it, and they get themselves the reward. A fantastic round from KRÜ, and now Gambit, they are into a position where, well, both the Operator and the Odin are fairly expensive, and now they have to try and fight for them.
Well, Chronicle up close is a little bit of cover. They're going to be focused on Shados, and that's one of the worst ways to die. Sprayed in close range by the Odin, and they won't be able to hunt them down after, allowing them to save over these final weapons. It will be 7-4, already a fantastic half out of KRÜ, and again, they're looking to push up to 8, the same scoreline that we saw on Breeze that still slipped away.
Don't say it. I knew it was coming. But yeah, they are, again, in the same spot. But this is the thing. Like, I feel like the way that he plays this Reyna is incredibly hit and miss. We've seen him shut down instantly some rounds. We've seen them win him the next. But that's his role within the team. That's exactly what they expect from him. If he stops playing aggressively, his value is just diminished almost instantly. So the fact that they're currently in the lead, it's been going incredibly well. Again, this slow, tempered pace coming out from KRÜ, just waiting for somebody to try and push them, especially with some of the rounds they've lost against weaker economy. It has been those A-site pushes, and you can see they're just watching for it this time.
Chronicle's peeking out on the corner with this Odin, and holding a lot of information. Obviously, they put their slow orb and their shock dart down at the very start just to stop any sort of B aggression, deal damage. If they can, delaying their utility enough that they have maximum information out of it. But the problem for Gambit here, they haven't spotted anybody, and now they're left in a void. Every single angle could have a player coming around it. That's why they drone B. See nobody there. Start the early rotation as Shados comes into A, and I think he's going to be here just in time for KRÜ's push.
They have got this read spot on. There are, I'd say that. They start hesitating a little bit. Push coming through. Nags looking to try and find the opener, but he gets caught by Redgar pushing. Now, he didn't have one of the major weapons, so this risk is worth it. Nats, he's just got straight through! Managing to find a couple, but the trades are good. Leaving it down to just one man, and it is closed out for Gambit. It will be a 7-5 half, a little bit different from last time, but it is still KRÜ going in with the lead at the half.
It absolutely is, and I don't expect this map to have as much of a flip to it as we saw in the previous. Altogether, though, this series is delivering exactly as we had hoped. For KRÜ, they're in the lead, but coming into this pistol round of the next half, there's going to be a lot of weight on their shoulders. They don't want to allow Gambit to bounce back because they've seen what can happen when those halves swap over.
Well, we're going to be heading off to the desk. It's a little bit closer this time, Sue. Where do you think this is going?
Well, luckily, Tom, what I think doesn't matter, because what matters is what Ryan and Seth think. What do you make of that half, guys?
I mean, it was quite impressive for Gambit, considering that last round is the only round that we saw Nats be able to do Nats things, right? Being a real problem on the site, breaking down the execution. And Gambit looked good to begin with, but then we saw the typical KRÜ when it comes to those executes and how quickly they could trade out.
Yeah, it seems like it was a little bit of a soft start for KRÜ, but finally started finding the groove. We're able to rack up 7 rounds. You know, it might not be the 8-4, which that might be a little bit of a curse for them, you know, if that was to happen again. But I was kind of hoping to see them have like a 9-3 here on this half, because they are so good at attacking. But if they can have you know, even as close to a defense as they had on Breeze here on Ascent, then you know, there's not too much to worry about. I think swapping over to the defensive side is also going to empower Klaus as well to have a little bit more stability.
Oh yeah, you guys are seeing some Mazzino highlights here. You know,
He's been big.
Yeah, this tournament has also really brought out the Sovas. We were expecting the Jets, Ryan, to do really well here, but the Sova players have been tremendous.
Yeah, especially with how much of a tricky time that he had personally on Breeze. He's finding his moments, and now that they go into that defense, having that information is so important. That's the one thing about having this double duelist composition at KRÜ are running, is that you are very reliant on that Sova to get that information. Klaus as well, you sort of expect him to find a lot going with the turret, but even he's had a bit of a rough time of it. This is just Gambit doing what they like to do, but you saw inklings of KRÜ up in the tempo, forcing Gambit into awkward positions where they're playing on site. Now that you switched that around, I'm curious on how fast Gambit are planning to play their attack.
Yeah, I mean, they might just try to really push the envelope here because there's not as much defensive utility available for the side of KRÜ as we saw from Gambit. They can get into a site. They've got that Sage Wall as well. If they get a nice execute onto A, onto B, just go ahead, lock off something, whether it's Market, whether it's that Defender's access to the back of B or Heaven on A. They've got a lot of different options if they can get themselves onto the site. So I'll have to see if they're going to be able to break through those initial defenses that are going to be set up for KRÜ.
Well, 8 rounds wasn't quite enough for KRÜ on Breeze. They have to bring out something here too, because a grand final spot is on the line. Back to you, Mitch and Tom.
Well, as you can see, we're about to jump back in. The timer counting down on half number 2. Gambit on 5. It's been a solid first half for KRÜ, but now their defense is about to be tested. And honestly, Tom, looking at this attack composition, it's going to be a curious one to see how Gambit use this.
They don't have the smoke and dash strategy that we normally see from a lot of teams on this map, something so commonly utilized. Now, the Shock Dart has already managed to take out some of the utility. Now, there will still be the turret there, but in fact, Chronicle has just taken the head clean off of Klaus. Now, bear in mind, we saw this at the last half. Both teams winning the pistol on either side of the map. Is it going to be another attempt from Gambit?
Well, they'll certainly try it. That drone is so well timed. It hasn't. Oh, okay, it's turned around.
Hello.
All good. They've seen him. He's going to be tagged on the way back, and Nag's now stuck in the corner. No dash to play with. Shock Dart's coming in. He's 30 HP right now, just dodging blind fire through smoke. Stelzik tries to come in and help and catch them off guard, but they'd already switched direction, fallen back and held short. Left now into a 5v1.
Here we go
Nags
again.
eventually meeting his demise.
1v5, round 2. We saw this in the second pistol last time. Kested this time. I feel like the agent he has might actually help him out a little bit more. No longer on the Cypher. Now they're all going to be watching for this. He'd need some pretty incredible shots and already tagged desperately low. Of course, a single kill would benefit him at least a little bit, but chance is slim. That is gross. He's even going to get the heal off of it. Nobody peeking in an attempt for the trade. They want to keep this crossfire going. At this time, it'll only be 2.
Yeah, but normally Chronicle would have went out there, at least forced him to stop healing, but he was reloading, so eventually he just calls it quits and says, hey, take your health. We'll just triple peek you when you walk back out. 7-6, Gambit winning the pistol. It's not great for KRÜ, but it's not the end of the world. Look, they're going to probably come in with this round win here, and then KRÜ will fight back on even footing. But this is their map pick, somewhere they can feel a lot more comfortable, because, you know, they've played it a few more times than Breeze.
Yeah. I think they played every map. I think that even includes Fracture. They had played more than Breeze going into today, so there you go.
Certainly at this event.
Yeah, for sure. It might have been even, but whatever. It's going to be that push through. Now, decent couple of players just waiting. I'm also seeing a shorty in there for Nags, although I would be surprised if it plays any part in this round, just considering his current position.
Do you know what I really like? Gambit, when they peek those corners, like Nats just came around, got tagged by the turret, and he just keeps clearing. The turret doesn't exist in his mind. The second guy around is the one to destroy it, because you don't want your crosshair to be pulled off, much like the Reyna Lear. If you flick to it and start shooting and the guy swings around the corner, you're dead. Instead, let your teammate handle it and you focus on the fight that could potentially be on hand. Kesden's not having a great start here, down to 22. Of course, he can heal up if he does kill anyone, and he can one-shot headshot from 30 meters, so not the end of the world, but certainly not the start you wanted for KRÜ.
They're just baiting them in. This is exactly the same as the pistol. Like, a lot of the problems of the composition that's there for KRÜ is because you have this double duelist, you have to be aggressive. Now, obviously, in this sort of round, it's going to be more so than any other because you are just playing with pistols, and realistically, you want to try and get yourself a stack.
Oh,
now,
no.
I said this wouldn't play a part, but they have actually come back in this direction. Again, we're going to see them slowly clearing out these angles, and this could be a bit of a problem. Not going to get anything for it. A lot of damage onto Chronicle. Maybe they can trade that out, but having, well, something we never really talk about that much anymore, having a double healer. So they're going to be able to get him right back up.
True. Yeah, it actually does help quite a bit. Seeing those pistols, you don't typically even expect that heal to be bought up, but I think Gambit had it. This is, I mean, for KRÜ, drop a few weapons. That's the name of the game, the objective. Play the exits. The problem is that where Gambit are likely to exit is towards their own spawn, and KRÜ have no foothold there. So they'll wait for these players to start making a move off the site and try to catch them on these incremental peaks, and they've at least found the one.
Okay.
Considering he's got a classic, Mazzino's done well to even get that.
Yeah, no, that was just almost a straight up 1v1 as well. So the fact that he wins that versus a weapon and a fully HP player is very impressive. But ultimately, again, for Gambit, not too much of a problem. Single player loss, they convert their pistol once again. Now is where things need to change, because this is where the streak continued. Granted, again, it was a somewhat close round, but Gambit managed to win their bonus. If that happens again, then I really do start to worry for KRÜ.
Most definitely. I'm already seeing Mazzino go in pretty hard into this round. He's bought full shields and an Odin. That means no shock darts to play with to start things off. But that kind of buy could really catch Gambit off guard. He does spray right away, though. And because he's not catching anyone off guard. Oh my god, they're trying to spray back through. You absolute psychos. They're using the Sheriff and tagging him up as well. But he's not deterred. He still wants to fight. The recon primed and ready. And now things get dangerous. Luckily, Gambit destroyed instantly.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this, again, is the same as what we saw in the last round, is almost faking control. The thing is, the drone will actually clear a lot of that space out. So everything they almost set up in this round was that, okay, we've taken all of this control, but then it's been spotted by the opposition that they've given it up again. However, Redgar is in the same spot. Now, if we see someone push B and die to Redgar again, I'm going to be pretty upset.
That's a oh no! This is a great start for Nags, but with Nats falling, I mean, that's the one player you probably don't mind really losing in a round like this. Having all these other agents alive, and now a 4v4, the Odin not great in that kind of fight. It's not really what you want to be facing in a round like this, but it's damn good at breaking walls, so they've got to cross over against it. Delzic's here to help, and they are doing the damage, and completely shutting down Gambit's attack. The spike on the floor, Mazzino just keeps on going with that big gun in hand. He's down to 7 HP, but I don't think he's going to get punished. Redgar, the last alive, Bulldog in hand, and, well, he meets the Odin as well. A fantastic round from Mazzino with what is hands down the best gun in the game.
Every single round, or every single position they moved to, there was someone waiting with the Odin, and it was the same person. Mazzino's having a game and a half as well. Currently 18 and 10, one of the main reasons they were able to get so much success when it came to their attacking side, just with his fragging ability, which, especially when you're on that server, a lot of the time on this map, that's not going to be what you're expecting him to do. So, in a pretty good spot, 8-7 is what we expected in this round. We have got to counter Odin. This map was literally as if Mitch has designed it himself.
I'll tell you what, I feel like I'm IGLing both of these teams right now. This is exactly what I want to see. I like that grab wall into double shock, or sorry, the double bounce shock dart. And yeah, Mazzino gets more than he bargained for there. He's gonna just about get it up. Oh, this is dangerous. The drone goes up above. It gets the tag, and that completely forces them out of main. The sprays back and forth, not yet meeting any demise for either player. The recon reveals him. He falls back, and now here he comes yet again, tagged up to 25. Now things get very dangerous. Mazzino has to be careful.
This is like nearly the first minute of the round. It's just been Odin spamming through walls, and the fact is the defenders haven't just been sitting there. They've also claimed some control. A last bullet shot and a spike in a pretty awkward position. I don't think the defense can really fight for it because it just wouldn't be worthwhile, but it is something that wastes more time, and KRÜ have wasted a lot of time in this round.
It's especially bad because Chronicle was the one going back for it with the Odin, so it's really tough to move quickly with that because you need so much setup time if you're going to take a ranged fight like that. And even if you are set up, you're probably going to lose that ranged fight, especially if it's Nags firing off the way that he is. That's the man advantage
30
now for
seconds
KRÜ to
left.
play with, and only 30 seconds left on the clock. Still a lot of Astra Stars waiting for them on A.
They've got 2 stars. Now they're going to clear this position, but not properly. 20 seconds left. He's going to look to try and play within the smoke, and Delzig shuts down 2 with the headshots. There is nothing that can be done here for Shados. He's going to go up above, and they're going to spam out the wall almost instantly. Mazino again using that Odin to good effect. And 9-7, KRÜ confirm their lead.
Tell you what, you wouldn't want the White Walkers to have one of those. Just cracks that wall right open. 9-7. KRÜ are looking strong right now, and this is the half that we wanted from them. We didn't want to see them just fall away again like on the previous. Instead, they are bringing the hurt to Gambit. And the slow attack side, the 1-minute wall bangs with the Odins, they don't find anything. Gambit are going to reconsider their strats now with the timeout called coming into their eco.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're continuously trying to challenge on B, and for a lot of the rounds they've been taking that space, but I felt like it's gone a little bit too far now. Like the amount of time, I think it was like 45 seconds was wasted just spamming that wall. They get absolutely nothing for it, and in the meantime, it's not like the remaining members of KRÜ are just sitting there like, well, we'll just kind of chill and wait for them to spam these Odins. No, they're taking map control away, and sure, there was, I think, Def on the other side of the map watching in case they got too aggressive, but it means like if you don't get anything and you go for these late round clears, what 25 seconds they were trying to clear that corner, then they had to get past the Astra utility, which why would you just pop it randomly if you know they're fighting on the other side of the map? And even just the spike being dropped from an aggressive push from Nags was enough to basically end this round. Fantastic stuff from KRÜ in the way that they played, but Gambit can't allow that to happen.
The pressure is certainly on for both of these teams coming out of the tactical timeout. We've seen the coaches have their piece, have their word in with the teams. The mics are muted, and we're back into game. 9-7. KRÜ have looked good, and they're coming up against an eco. This should be double digits for the Latin Americans, and a step in the right direction for map 3.
Yeah, it's also without having that jet, there isn't really a lot of opportunities in these sort of rounds other than just catching people with utility and managing to find yourself a weapon. Like, unless you're going to pop a random Hunter's Fury and get yourself a couple of kills, I feel like there's very little chance of Gambit stealing this one away.
You hear the rumble of the Odin in the distance, spraying away and keeping them out of B main for the time being, but there's nothing to stop them going into middle. Starting to make their way up through here. Market door closed, very conscious that they've given up that control. KRÜ will allow their opponents to have it spraying through every now and then just to keep them at bay. And it's going to be a slow push into B main as well, coming
That was
out.
a double tag.
Red guard.
the lineup collat coming out from the drone, giving them so much information that there's 2 players currently pushed down mid. And you can see that Klaus realizes if he manages to get main control of B, again, this round almost just becomes over, especially with the position currently of Mazino. They don't actually manage to catch out the dart as well. He's doing so well just to delay them as much as possible with utility, and even manages to escape. He's got to be careful because they are looking to try and hunt him down, but with so many bullets, so many opportunities, it's just cleaning them up.
Yeah, absolutely farming those frags, and as they walk out of those smokes, you can see there's plenty of guns waiting for them. Another 3K out of Mazino. Of course, this was just up against an eco, but avoiding losing any players can really future-proof this economy. Another prime gaming flawless, this time in the hands of KRÜ.
He is 9 kills above anyone else in the server at the moment.
Got the best gun in the game, mate. I don't know.
Well, how come it didn't work out for the other side when they were using it?
Oh, they just didn't use it right. Just gotta look at
Mazino. Have you got a guide out that anybody can look at?
Yeah, we'll work on that. I'll sit down with Mazino after this and we'll talk it through.
Okay, sweet. Good to know it's
Get
coming.
some Coldamenta.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, Coldamenta. This recon's a little dangerous for Nags. He was blinded up, so he can't destroy it. He's now being spotted. Time to use that dash up, and great early utility coming out of Gambit. Just a burrow. Oh no, Nags, run for your life. Whew, that was dangerous.
I think they've realized as well that they can get mid control relatively easy. And considering how things have been going with that Odin on B, I'm not surprised that they're starting to avoid it. The thing that's been a bit weird for me so far is that Gambit put little to no pressure on A at all.
39 HP.
We haven't seen them go up short. We haven't even really seen them challenge just for main at all. So look how much control again is there.
Oh, if they get tagged by that recon, it's all over for them. But luckily they won't. 39 health was left on Defo after just a spam from a Phantom. Thanks to that drone, Mazino is having one hell of a game. Honestly, his utility has been on point thus far. Another tag coming through as Nats hits 30. and they are really being deterred from pushing this B site. They'll change it up, but they're walking right into Nags, who's having one hell of a map over on the previous. Yet to really reach that form again, and this drone, it hasn't spotted him. He's managed to sneak his way in. The spam gives it away, and he'll just back off now. Oh, he actually can't make it through.
Oh, they know Delzik is there. They know he's hiding in the smoke and almost try and bait it out. Redgar should have this timing on point. Clearing him is going to be so important. In fact, he's pushing back in, and he's still managing to get kills. The timing eventually works in his favor, and it's traded out into the 1 versus 1. A chance here, and the plant is not in the best of spots. Nags is going to close out the round. You said he was a little bit quieter in this map, but when they needed him the most, he'll put an 11th on the board.
That's incredible. Someone took their knife out and ran at him. I don't know if they misread the situation, thought everyone was dead, ran out of ammo, something happened, but my God, KRÜ are now 11-7 in the lead. Nags is having that little bit of confidence boost that he really needed, because so far, like I said, this map hasn't reached the same form that he did over on Breeze. Now,
so low.
He's going to feel a lot better closing out this round, putting 11 on the board. KRÜ just 2 away from map 3 here in the semifinals. It's so close they can almost taste it.
And this is starting to remind me of old Gambit attacks that just seem a little bit baseless. It's been a B attempt almost every single round. There's been no pressure put on A. Like, you see how long Delzik is already here. Yeah. He's already just taken that control because he hasn't had to fight for it in the entirety of the map. In fact, he did so much damage even in the last round just by keeping that position held. It makes things so much easier for the rest of the players to actually push out. This time, again, who's surprised? They're going mid.
Yeah, Gambit really running out of ideas here by the looks of it. Round on round, the same spot is pushed, and success has been nowhere in sight. Close shock into the pink. The SMG's trying to lead the charge around these corners, but it's all just pressure. They look to move back to the A site. They've had Redgar holding this for most of the round, so they know that nobody is at least pushed up on A, that the info isn't there to play with. Redgar takes a step back, pops down a smoke. They'll pressure short.
Gambit do have some ults in this round that they could look to try and use to give them an opportunity. They faked this in a little bit to A and did actually manage to pull a couple of rotations. This leaves things a little bit vulnerable, but bypassing through into this B site is going to be very difficult, especially again with Mazzino just popping. 4 kills already. Redgar left as the late lurk coming through B. Mazzino, he wants this ace. He wants to close this out single-handedly, and as he runs through, he can't quite get it, but still a fantastic round from him again.
Well, I'm hearing KRÜ get very loud. Can't understand what they're saying, but I guess Gambit can't either.
27-12.
I'm telling you, man, this guy is on fire. It doesn't matter if it's the Odin or the Phantom. Look at this target selection. He knows there's a player in the corner, but he just keeps dueling the guys up close, knowing that if Cypher steps forward, oh, man. That is so nice to see, man. That's so nice to see. Get that crowd making some noise. But I'll tell you what, KRÜ are matching them when it comes to decibels. They've been getting loud in Gambit's faces, and now they have 5 opportunities to bring us to map 3.
And you can see as well that Mazzino is getting more and more confident as the rounds go by. And why not? Shock Dart Shadows is down to 5. That almost killed him off. Was that double damage?
I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what. If he goes down, they lose the res. That is a big, big scalp to take right away. They came so damn close to doing it, but Gambit will survive into the late round. 1:10 on the clock. The attackers have been short on ideas. It's been constantly mid to B. They've tried to throw in fakes, but so far they have found it impossible to crack the code as KRÜ continue to have an iron defense.
Yeah, and I do worry that it might just be that lack of a true entry. Not having that. This is why we don't really see no duelist comps, because it becomes very difficult to actually find a way into the site if your initial bait ideas and your utility is not really working out for you. There's no brute force option for Gambit. And again, we're seeing these slow takes, 35 seconds. As of right now, they have mid.
Yeah, and even then, it's
30
contested
seconds
quite heavily. Kesnet gonna just dismiss out of there. A little jump to make sure he catches it. Rez coming through. Does Kesnet want to get aggressive on this? Yes, he does! And he's not quite gonna catch them, but he's slowing them down. He's harassing them in the back lines. 20 seconds left as they make their way forward. Up goes Nags, no knives connecting. Klaus, though, going huge. The Nano keeping them back, and this is already done. KRÜ walk out with 13-7. Map 3 is where we'll decide things. What an incredible performance by this Latin American side on their map pick.
We said it after the last one. Even though things looked bad after being 8-4 up and losing 9 rounds in a row, they reset into the next map. They then go into that second half and they look utterly dominant throughout it. There was nothing it seemed that Gambit could do, and that B site was completely locked down. Bezino ends 28-12. Definitely one of the best performances we've seen. Maybe the best performance from Asova we've seen in this entire tournament.
I think I might be with you, because it wasn't just the Odin as much as I'd love to say it was. It wasn't just the Phantom, but hell, every single piece of utility this guy was putting down meant that Gambit couldn't go into B main. He was cycling his utility perfectly when it came down to early shock darts with the slows, recons using up later on his drone, and then the recons back online again. B main was off limits, and then that Odin obviously was the big fear in trying to take that control. That left Gambit to look to mid again and again, and they just never found a solution. An incredible game out of KRÜ, and now they've got an opportunity to close this out. A final map to be played for. It's all on the line here, and I really don't know who to call for it.
Yeah, and it's going to be exciting again, because we head off to Bind, which again for KRÜ is a map that there's going to be very little to no data currently available for Gambit, and it has been one that we've seen some shaky maps. In fact, playing versus Vikings, they lost 13-5. So we're now going into a map that I have to feel is almost 50-50, because we don't know what to expect from either team. Now, we watched in this one, Gambit came off of a loss. They tried to adapt with a new composition that didn't have any duelists in it. It did not work at all. Are they going to try and adapt again, Mitch? Or will they go for the tried and true and try and beat KRÜ out on their game? I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the desk does. So should we go off to a break?
Send it off.
We'll let them talk about it.